you're on the search for the best water filter, specifically gravity water filter, then stick around because after 8 years, I think I have finally found the perfect system for me. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I use. Let's dive into it. This is not sponsored. This is a loaded topic. I've been researching this extensively. You can check it out all back on the website on something called the scorecard. So it's all laid out there for you with links. Any other information. This video would be 3 hours long if I had to go through the whole thing. It took me years to find the Doulton British Berkefeld system. I tried Berkey, I tried Aquacera, I tried Pro One filters. In college, used the Brita filter. I used the Zero water filter, which is huge and very heavy and stands out in my mind for that. I've looked into Life Straw. I have that in my emergency go bag. Water Drop I've looked into. Did Clearly Filtered. I did a lot of those pitchers, but I just wanted to get away from the pitcher. Today, we're talking about Doulton British Berkefeld. I'm just going to say Doulton going forward because I am lazy and I don't want to say British Berkefeld. I do want to say up front about Doulton that they currently do not ship to 3 states, one of which is California. I know. I'm sorry. It's not my doing, but Iowa or I believe Wisconsin. Due to government regulations and claims that are made, Doulton dives into this back on the site. Berkey had a whole hoopla because of similar things to this. Anyway, I digress, but I wanted you to know because that's going to be a deal breaker. What's inside? I already had the stainless steel container system is what I'm going to call it, but it's basically the chambers. There are 2 chambers, a lid, and I have a spout. I have the rubber base. I put it right next to the side of my sink. It's very easy to fill. You can put it in another room if you want more counter space, and then you have to lug around a pitcher. That's what my mom does, and I'm like, ugh. Who has the time for that? But she doesn't like it on the counter, so I get it. But you have to consider that it's going to take up a little bit of space. I have the travel Berkey size. It's not huge. It's for 1 to 3 people. Doulton has a comparison of that. They name theirs like British royalty, so that matches their Duchess size option. Then you go up to Duke, Prince, Queen, King. I'm going to talk about the Duchess and the Duke, which just sound, I like it. I'll take it. The type of Doulton filters, I went back and forth between 2 different types. The ceramic filters have a relatively high efficiency at removing bacterial contaminants from drinking water. There are reports that they can remove up to 99% of these bacterial contaminants. The brand clearly states what each filter can remove, what its limitations are, and where it excels. The 2 that I was looking at were the Ultra Stericyl, I don't know if I'm saying that right, and then their ceramic ultra fluoride filters. They're the all-in-one filters. There's a couple of websites for Doulton out there. Initially, I found their British site. You cannot have things shipped to the US from that website. It's a nice website. I Googled and found another website that looks like it hasn't been updated since 1997. Real bad. If you are on that website and you're like, what am I supposed to do here? It's rough. They do have another website that I have purchased from. I can verify on my end, at least, that I have bought from it and it has been fine. It's a way better shopping experience. So all my links are going to go to that website. Along the way, as I was comparing these, the descriptions are slightly different, but the one on the current website that I ordered from said the all-in-one is essentially the Ultra Stericyl filter plus fluoride and lead removal. After I looked into my water report, I realized I should have done this beforehand. We don't have a huge lead problem where I am. Fluoride, I'm not going to dive in too far into that either. There's a lot of data out there. There's a lot of misinformation out there. I don't think I need the extra fluoride filtration. Look at your water report for your city, your county, whatever. If you're in the United States, you have to have one of these or have it be available to you. You can put in the year, so 2024 water report. I would put in Nashville, Tennessee, and then you should be brought to an area where you can download a PDF and you can actually see it. I just want you to know it's available because when you're buying a water filter and you're like, do I get the lead one? Do I not get the lead one? Do I get this one? This will tell you whether you've exceeded the limits on certain things and not. Remineralization is not necessary. We're good to go with the minerals. We need our minerals, especially now. Like, how do you really know that it's happening, right? How do you really know? From what I've learned, the consumer can get tests done. You can send the water to a lab, or you can do something called a red dye test, or you can do a TDS test. Based on my research, out of those 3, the only one that seemed not fishy was sending it to a lab, and that's incredibly expensive. So I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do that. The red dye test has been disproven and proven. I'm confused. The TDS is reporting solids versus something else. Like it's only capturing one part of the picture and isn't necessarily going to accurately reflect the filtration that's happening. I installed the all-in-one filter a few days ago. I'm going to show you what that looked like because I filmed it, because I remembered to film it. And for those of you that are curious, I will bring up NSF certifications because that was another really big reason as to why I ended up switching from Pro One Aquacera into Doulton. But first, setup simple. I find it to be very simple. There are videos out there. So there's one from Doulton that's like 13 years old. It's so cute. It's a man on screen and a woman is actually speaking to the camera, but she's behind the camera, so there's no audio voiceover. It's just really fun. It's very entertaining, actually. I highly recommend it. And everybody loves a British accent. I mean, how could you not? Actual setup of the system is very easy in my opinion. It's not really hard to screw the filters on or anything like that. And then putting the chambers together, pretty basic and easy. The spigot is really actually easy to put on as well. Where you get tied up with time is running the water through. So I did a couple of full loads of water through the entire system. The first couple are going to run slowly, depending on the water filter you have, depending on how many you have. I timed it. That first run through took a good 3.5, 4 hours for it to get all the way through the system. Is it always going to take that long? No. And it has improved significantly. All in all, for setup, it got a 4 out of 5. I can't give it a 5 out of 5. It's not that easy, but it's pretty easy. You can do it. I believe in you. NSF certification. Again, not an expert, do your research. I'm just telling you what I learned. Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. NSF stands for National Sanitation Foundation. So these particular Doulton water filters are certified NSF 42, 53, and 372. That means they're certified for the removal of specific things. So I'm looking at it right here. NSF 42, reduction of contaminants that may cause negative aesthetic effects, chlorine, taste, and odor. A lot of filters are certified 42. NSF 53, reduction of contaminants like lead, mercury, asbestos, radon, volatile organic chemicals. NSF 372 ensures plumbing products and components used in potable water system meet lead content limits. Berkey was not NSF certified, I believe. They claim to remove 200 plus contaminants and they work through a third-party lab. Pro One filters were NSF certified for 42. That's it. And then they did third-party lab testing. Aquacera was certified 42 and then third-party tested. They have full transparency on the lab and the lab readings. And they say, this is the lab where NSF certification happened. But then why aren't you just doing the NSF certification? I don't know the answer to that. A lot of the brands say they do third-party lab testing, which is actually even better than the NSF certification. As a consumer, I don't know what to believe there. I would have to speak to an actual expert. As I know the NSF certifications are hard to get. They're expensive. I think they have to be renewed. They didn't have as many NSF certifications as Doulton does. I'm relying more on this gold standard NSF certification compared to the third-party lab tests. Is NSF certification a racket? I don't know the answer to that. This is all alleged and theoretical in my brain. All I wanted to tell you was NSF certifications are what helped me decide that, okay, these are saying they're removing even more and they're showing me certifications that aren't easy to get that I'm going to choose to trust right now because I'm not going to take my water and send it off to a lab. If that changes, I will let you know. It might be a little bit more than you wanted to know, but trust me, it is the Cliff's Notes / Britt's Notes version of what's out there right now. I will have links to nsf.org. I will have links wherever I can to help you if you want to do some light reading on NSF certifications. They're getting a 4 out of 5 for NSF certification. Then I'm going to follow up with taste and value here. Taste is going to be short and sweet, so I gave this a couple of run-throughs. In the past, some of the water filters that I've used really did not taste great. After the first couple of passes, water tasted fresh. I couldn't taste anything or smell anything weird. I actually take it from the tap, I smell it, and then I take it from the filter and smell it. Tap water has a very strong scent here, like chlorine. And then the Doulton, nothing. I smelled nothing. It smelled great. It tasted great. happy with the taste. 5 out of 5 for me on the taste.
Okay, well, everything just died on my computer, so I'm coming back to you with a follow-up. I'm gonna kind of edit this in, but I wanted to talk to you about value. I actually ended up doing more research about this and doing some cost comparisons. I'm gonna keep it pretty short. You can check out everything. I did the math. It was painful, but I did it. All back on the scorecard, which you're going to hear me say ad nauseum throughout this entire review. It's just there's so much to talk about. They say to replace these filters, these Doulton filters, British Berkefeld filters, every 800 gallons that you consume. So they have 400 on another site, but we're going to go with 800 gallons. And I looked up how much I drink. The short story is this is my water bottle that goes with me everywhere. I usually drink on average 4 of these bottles. They're 16 ounces each. That's the low average. Usually I drink a little bit more if I'm being more active that day. At the end of the day, it would take me almost 3 to 4 years to have to replace these filters if I do it by that math. I've reached out to Doulton to see, is this like getting your oil changed on the car? You know, they say you should do it every so often. You get a little notification, but have you reached that mileage? Probably not. Do you want the old oil sitting there? I don't know. This is a car reference I shouldn't be making because I don't know that much about cars, but that's kind of where my mind went. I will let you know what I hear. Is there another reason? Efficacy goes down, things like that, if I go beyond the 6-month mark? Or is the 6-month mark solely based on the water usage, the personal water usage? I also am not using this water as much for cooking. So for instance, it's going to go into like my chili that I'm making, but it's not necessarily what I'm using to boil pasta in yet. I feel like I'm about to get to that point with it. If that's the case, I will probably go through more water, but it's going to take a while. That said, I looked and compared this to what it usually costs to buy a pallet basically of 24 bottles of bottled water. These are not the reusable water containers. These are the bottles that once you use them, people say, yes, you can refill them, but they crumble. You know what I mean? So I looked at a general wholesale retailer. I'm not going to give names. I'm just using it as a very interesting little value experiment. Here's where I got to. In one of those pallets, 24 8-ounce bottles of water, you can get them for around $5. And you're like, that's amazing. That's a lot of water. It's actually potentially not amazing. First of all, the NIH, National Institute of Health, has talked about the fact that 1 liter of bottled water can potentially, that's what they're saying, contain 240,000 tiny pieces of plastic, many of which are considered nanoplastic. I'm looking at this 24 pack, right? I did the math in comparison to what I consume. I would need 32 of those tiny little plastic bottles, they're 8 ounce, they're not tiny, to get to the amount of water that I drink a week on a low end. That's around $7.50 a week at the current price. If you just do the math and multiply it, that brings me to around $30 a month. But what that also means is I'm going to be going through, hypothetically, 128 plastic bottles. $30 a month still sounds pretty good though. The bottles, like, it's terrifying. But anyway, all right. Annually with the plastic bottles of water, if that's the route I'm going, which is not always going to be the case. I understand that. You're not just drinking out of the plastic bottle of water, but just use it for this use case. $360 a year if I'm going that route, which means I'm already above my spend. The value certainly lies within the Doulton water filter, especially if I'm only looking at replacing this every couple of years. But we're going to even make it harder for Doulton, right? I'm going to go to their 6-month mark. So for annual replacement there, it would be $260 upfront cost plus another $60 for replacement filters. That's $320. It's still under the amount that you would be paying if you bought the plastic water bottles. That's getting the whole system. After that, it's just $70 a year, which is an even better cost saving, right? Here's what got me crazy. So I currently consume around 200 gallons of water a year, which is the number I got to because I really track my water drinking through this. That's around 757 liters of water. That's like a lot of water. If I were drinking the same amount from the plastic bottled water, that would be 1,500 or more plastic bottles. That's 1,500 net new plastic bottles of water. They're usually single use. They don't decompose for like 400 plus years. They're going to be around on this planet if we're still around on this planet. My great great-grandchildren will see them. It's staggering. If I'm looking at it from that perspective and drinking 757 liters of water, and we go back to that NIH article that says in 1 liter of plastic bottled water, there's around 240,000 pieces of tiny plastic. So that's 1 liter, 757 liters. So I'm gonna do it on my phone. That's like a lot. My God. Okay, if I'm doing my math correctly, 181.7 million pieces of plastic. Now, are they all staying in there? Am I peeing some of them out? TMI? I don't know. This is to demonstrate that not only is it worth it with money, but if you're concerned about the consumption of micro and nanoplastics, I don't know if it's correlation or direct the effect that it has on our health. But from a common sense perspective, consuming that much plastic in a human body, not supposed to be a good thing. I hate doing math. I'm not a math person. Putting this down on paper made it a no-brainer. I understand the investment could be a lot for a lot of people. I want to take that into account. There's a lot of external variables that I am not addressing in this, but just know the intention here is to show you the value behind this. Do I think this is a valuable thing to invest in for your health, for your family's health, for your animal's health, for your world's, for your planet's health? Yes, 5 out of 5 for value, in my opinion. I do have a mini comparison buying guide. I like to include these. I did the same thing with the shower filter. I'm going to have that back on the website, so you're going to see not just one filter to another filter. I have that at the top of the scorecard post. The short story there is, and I already mentioned this, I went with Doulton because they had more NSF certifications. Buying guide is really more about where to buy it online. I learned a lot about that. I can't go on and on in this video about it. If you want me to do another video, I'm happy to, but I really feel like it's all back on the scorecard for you. The headline here is Doulton Direct. Buying from Doulton Direct is the best price that I have currently found. I also found a certified retailer per somebody else. I link it all back on the site where you can buy on Amazon, because I know a lot of you are probably thinking about that. And then another site called Discount Filters. Not so discounted after all, but just if you don't want to do that, buying directly from Doulton is the way that I found to be the best in price. Not only that, I know I'm actually getting a certified Doulton British Berkefeld water filter. And when it comes to buying anything like a water filter, supplements, anything that I'm ingesting, I'm going to go directly to the source 99.9% of the time. This is one of those times. By the way, also the shipping was pretty fast. Total score for the Doulton British Berkefeld water filters was an 18 out of 20. I have the pros and the cons back on the site, but if you can't tell, I'm a big fan. I also, because I couldn't finish this and half of this video just kind of magically vanished, which was really fun. It gave me a chance to come back. I've been using it now for a couple of weeks. It's flowing really quickly. So it took 3 hours that first time. It does not take that long. I go through an entire tank in the course of a day. So I fill it up at night and it is with me the next day. But if I need to fill it up in the middle of the day, I'd say maybe an hour. I haven't tracked it with my phone, but it does not take a long time. So let that not deter you. And the taste is still really great. And yes, I will continue to use my fluoride filters. I will buy the Ultra Stericyl next time. I don't think I need the lead and fluoride removal, the extra ones, but we'll see. And I will get back to you with the information that Doulton comes back to me with. They're pretty good at responding. Sometimes they take a minute. They have AI responses, but they're okay. They're okay. They're not like the best, but they've been good. So I'll see what they say about the life of the filters that I currently have. Should I stick to 6 months? Should I wait until their gallon estimates and their guidance on that? I will let you know. I hope this took a lot of the complication out of the process. It was crazy overwhelming for me. That's why it took me so long. And then testing, and hearing from so-and-so that this works better than so-and-so. You don't have to go with Doulton, but based off of the information that I've done, the research that I've pulled together, it seems like currently the best choice. I am always open to new options. Always. You know that. If you follow me, you know I love to test things against my current favorites. So as a result, I'm sure I will be testing new filters against this if they can stand up to Doulton certifications, or maybe if they tell me why their third-party certifications are better. I don't know. I'm open to it. For now, at this stage in my life, I'm not worried about detoxing. Our system does that anyway. We have organs in there, and I'm certainly not a medical expert, so I can't speak to that. I am also not under the impression that I'm going to eliminate contaminants from my body. We are past that. That ship has sailed, in my opinion. It's about minimizing my exposure, overall toxic load from contaminants that will accumulate in my body and all living things on this planet. They're kind of one and the same. We are a part of nature, as we often forget. So there you go. That's my shtick. That's the water filter roundup. Have fun with it. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. If you're going to try this, let me know in the comments below. And if you've tried something else, I would love to hear. I'm all ears. Like I mentioned, I like to continue learning. You can check out the full scorecard back on the website. Any information that I have will be updated there and on the community tab here. Thank you so much for watching. Go drink some contaminant-free, reduced contaminant water. And hope I made life easier for you. That's the main goal. Bye.